We're looking at the Miami football schedule with Mike McDaniel from inside the ACC, Gobbler Country, and also in season doing pregame and postgame for the Virginia Tech Hokies. That would be, of course, on ESPN Blacksburg. So Miami seems to have the best personnel in the division, but this is a narrative that we've been looking at for a number of years. And besides that 2017 season, winning 10 straight games and then faltering down the stretch, getting to the ACC championship game, they get passed by the likes of Georgia Tech and Duke and Virginia Tech, making it to conference championship games, even with what they would consider their fans to be the best personnel in the division based on the recruiting rankings. And we'll have to believe it when we see it again this year with Manny Diaz now on the sideline, and a very, very interesting, intriguing, and difficult game against the Florida Gators, similar to a matchup that they had to face against LSU, and they got punched in the mouth last year. This time it's a hated rival that they rarely ever play in Florida to start out 2019, Mike.
Tough schedule for Miami. They have the personnel. Who knows what they're going to do at quarterback? We don't know if Tate Martell will be eligible or not. If he's eligible, I think he pushes for the starting quarterback job. Of course, Martell transferring over from Ohio State. They still have N'Kosi Perry. Until further notice, they still have Jaron Williams, who we heard might be thinking about transferring, but right now hasn't. So he's still in play. Miami just needs better quarterback play, and they'll be fine. I don't know if they'll get that this year or not. We'll see. At Florida in the opener, I don't love it. It's a neutral site game. It's at Florida. I mean, Miami's the road team, but that game's being played in Orlando, so it's a neutral site game. That's gonna be that's gonna be tough for Miami to win. At North Carolina, winnable game. Bethune-Cookman, Central Michigan, 3 winnable games to close out September before you have a bye week. You get Virginia Tech at home. You get UVA at home. You get Georgia Tech at home. 3 straight home games there in weeks 6 through 8. Like Miami in all 3 of those games, if you had to pick one once again that they could potentially lose, I think Virginia is a pretty good bet. Virginia beat them this past year. Virginia is probably the best coached out of those 3 teams. Georgia Tech's in year 1 with a new coach, and Virginia Tech's a mess. So, look, I like Miami in all 3 of those games on paper. At Pitt, at Florida State. Miami lost to Pitt 2 years ago. They handled them this past year. They shouldn't have any trouble this coming year, given what Pitt's losing. At Florida State, I think Miami's the better team. I think they win that game. Home against Louisville, that's a winnable game. Then you have a bye week. Then you're at FIU and at Duke to close out the year. We say this every year, but on paper, Miami should win somewhere between 9 and 11 games. Whether or not that happens is really predicated on how good their quarterback is, because they have all the tools on both offense and defense. They have the best personnel in the Coastal Division. It's just a matter of putting it all together in year 1 under Manny Diaz and finally getting consistent quarterback play. That's what it's going to boil down to. But I'll believe it when I see it out of Miami. I think they're the most talented team in the Coastal, but whether or not they take that talent and turn it into on-the-field production is a whole nother discussion.